Hello, my dear students. We are going today to study our lesson of inflation. But before we start to talk about this, let me ask you a simple question. When someone says inflation, I can ask you, what first thing comes into your mind? Wonderful. When someone says inflation, as it is here, it is a persistent rise or continuous increase in the price level of goods and services. And here know that when we say persistent or continuous rise or continuous increase in the general price level of goods and services, it means that the increase in price must be in a long period of time. When you are saying continuous or persistent, it means that the increase in price takes a long period of time to be called inflation. And the second one, this increase in price must be to the various commodities. When you have increase in price, but to the one or two commodities, it will not be called inflation. It is called inflation again when there is increase in price, but to the various commodities. That is why this increase in price must be to the various commodities, specifically essential commodities. And the types of inflation, as it is our lesson of today, we have demand pull inflation or excess demand inflation. When we are saying excess demand inflation, this is a persistent increase in the price of goods and services brought about by or caused by demand exceeding supply of goods and services at full employment level. Here it means that when you are saying at full employment level, it means that all countries' resource has been exploited fully and there is no tendency, there is no chance to increase production. When there is no tendency to increase production and the aggregate demand continue to exceed aggregate supply, it will cause an inflation called the demand pull inflation. Or in other words, demand pull inflation. It is an inflation that occurs when the aggregate demand exceeds the aggregate supply at full employment level of income. As here in this graph, we are seeing that here you have aggregate demand 1 and aggregate demand 2 and price 1, 2 and price 2. The increase in aggregate demand from aggregate demand 1 to the point A up to the aggregate demand 2 to the point B, it will cause an increase in price level from price level 1 up to the price level 2 as it is shown here in the graph. As the cause of this inflation, it is seen that this excess demand inflation is inflation caused by increase in public expenditure. Here, public expenditure may be increased because of different factors. For example, to meet for recurrent expenditures, expenditure to increase the production process in the economy, and this will increase the money supply in the public. At this increase in money supply, you will see that it will create purchasing power of the individuals, and this increase in purchasing power will lead to the increase in the price as well. Second one, there is the expansion of export. Here, this expansion of export will lead to the shortage in the domestic markets. This shortage will lead to the low supply and high demand, which led to the increase in the price. Third one, there is reduction in taxation. When the reduction in taxation increase, specifically taxation to the people's income will increase the disposable income or the money the people remains after paying tax. And this will cause the increase in purchasing power of the people, which created the price to rise. And deficit financing as fourth one. When we are saying deficit financing, this is when the government uh, decided to print money because of, for example, or because of other circumstances that may lead the government to decide to print money which is not going with the level of economic activities. These money printed are going to this money printed come in circulation, which led to the increase in money supply and led the price to fall. The last one, there is increase in population. Here, increase in population, as we are seeing here, increase in population will lead to the increase in aggregate demand, which also cause the price to increase as it is in general. After knowing this, the causes of inflation, we can look at some policies that can be taken or put in place to control this demand for inflation. Those policies, we can say, for example, restrictive monetary policy. When we're saying restrictive monetary policy, are those policies which are intended to reduce the amount of money in circulation. When the amount of money in circulation is reduced, it means that the people's purchasing power will be reduced and cause the price to fall. After the restriction in monetary policy or restrictive monetary policy, there is the open market operation. When we are saying open market operation, it is when the government put the treasury bills and bonds to the market through the commercial bank. Here, when the government wanted to reduce the amount of money in circulation, we put the financial securities to the market and people buy. When people buy the securities, it means the money are gotten from the public to the government, and this will reduce the purchasing power of the people. After this, there is selective credit control. When we are saying selective credit control, it is when the central bank command the commercial banks to give credit to the project which are going to increase the production, and others be restricted to get credit. And this will reduce the money in circulation and on the other hand increase the production process, which control an inflation. The next one is reduction in government expenditure. When you are saying reduction in government expenditure, you have to listen those money the government could put in circulation to finance some projects. When there is reduction in government expenditure, there is reduction in money supply or money in circulation, which control the inflation in general. And the last one, there is increase in tax. When the government increases tax, it means that government reduces the money in the hand of public. When the money in the hand of public reduced, it means that the people will remain low purchasing power, which control the inflation in general. The second type of inflation here we can say, there is the cost push inflation. When we're seeing cost push inflation, this is an inflation that occurs when it is inflation that occurs when the cost of production increase. Listen here, please. When the cost of production increase, it means that the producer will increase the price to cover the cost. And when the producers increase the price, it means it is inflation on the other way. As it is here, this is a persistent increase in the price of goods and services brought about by increase in the cost of production, as they said before. There's some sources or causes of cost push inflation. There is wage increase. There is a government policy in the form of high taxes, but here those are taxes to the producers. There is increase in interest rate on the broad fund. There is the exchange rate in the form of currency depreciation and the increase in the operating costs. All those you are seeing that those listed causes increase the cost of production to the producers, which cause the producers to increase the price to cover the cost incurred in the production process. Some ways of controlling this cost push inflation, there is increase in the level of domestic output through availing credit facilities and tax holiday. For example, here, when there is tax holiday, it will reduce the cost of production to producers, and producers try to reduce the price. The second one, government should reduce import taxes to subsidize the importers. When the government reduces the import taxes, it means that the importers will avail the commodities in the country with low cost and ready to reduction in price. There is to discourage the export of goods. Here, this discouragement, to discourage the export of goods, it means that will increase the commodities in the domestic market, which will increase the supply of goods and services and ready to the reduction in price. The last one here, there is a price and income policy to reduce the wage and price CPI in general. Those are some ways or some policies to control cost push inflation. After this, after cost push inflation, there is what we call bottleneck inflation. This bottleneck inflation is type of inflation that results from the supply rigidities or supply constraints. Here means that these supply rigidities and constraints cause the reduction in the supply of goods and services. In other way, there is the inflation process in less developed countries is fundamentally structural, led by food price due to the inelastic nature of food supply relative to the faster growing of demand. Here, this bottleneck inflation simply, or in few words, it is an inflation that is caused by supply rigidity or supply problem. It is inflation that occurs due to the scarcity of goods and services. That is why in some books you will find this bottleneck inflation as scarcity inflation. It is inflation caused by supply rigidity in the economy and the supply constraint that causes the reduction in the supply of goods and services. This bottleneck inflation, it is an inflation. This is an inflation due to the structural problem or supply rigidity, which keep down the level of output and hence price rise. For example, let's talk about the problem of droughts or problem of floods. The floods may come and ready to the reduction of supply, for example, of rice or something, for example. This supply problem will lead to the reduction in the amount of output to be put in the market and lead the price to increase in general. Some causes of this bottleneck inflation, the structural breakdown. Structural breakdown of industries causing a shortage of goods and services in the economy. There is insecurity, scares away the investors, both domestic and foreign. For example, when in the country there is a problem of insecurity, the people are suffering from insecurity. Here, the producers are being scared away. The producers are afraid. They have a fear of investing in this region where there is insecurity, meaning that there is a problem of low supply, which will lead to the price of this location to rise. There is reduction in production. This reduction in production, for example, by major sectors, which is agriculture. For example, period of sun, for example, is period of drought, pest and disease, which may lead to the low production of agricultural output, and this we call this type of inflation bottleneck. There is a lack of technical and entrepreneurial skills. Remember that those entrepreneurial skills are many keywords, are many factors of production process. That is why when there is a problem in entrepreneurs, there is a problem in production, which led to the reduction in what? In the supply of goods and services, and the inflation occurs. And remember that what you can say here, this is the most type of inflation you have in less developed countries. Some policies for controlling the structural inflation, we can say increase in local production of goods and services. Government and all the people in duties can do whatever that can increase the production of goods and services in the economy. There is to improve the export sectors. When we are saying improve the export sectors, this can be done, say, by diversifying the economy. There is increase in the level of agricultural output, as it is said here before. Agricultural output. Here we are saying agricultural output because our countries, mainly less developed countries, depends on agriculture. When we develop the agriculture, it is a keyword. It is a key solution to the problem of supply. There is a price and income policy to reduce the cost of production, even those few produce at low cost. There is the proper management of the economy by making whatever that could cause an increase in the production process. After the bottleneck inflation, there is another type of inflation called imported inflation. This imported inflation, it is an inflation that we have in a country caused by when we are importing the countries which are experiencing the problem of inflation. For example, here this means that when you are importing in the countries that have a problem of inflation, it means that we are taking their inflation in our country. That is why this inflation, we take the inflation and paste in our countries, and we start to suffer from inflation. According to this story of reported inflation, inflation may be caused by increase in the price of imported inputs or by increase in the price of imported goods. When you are importing the inputs which are more expensive, it means that we produce at a high cost and start to sell our commodities produced at a high price. There is another type of inflation called monetary inflation. This monetary inflation, according to the monetary economist, it is the persistent increase in the price of goods and services brought by an increase in money supply without a corresponding increase in goods and services. When there is increase in money supply, the people have money. But even the people have money, there is no production at the market. Means that you are competing, there are more competitors on the few commodities. This will cause those few suppliers to charge high price because the money are available in the country. Here, simply when the money supply exceed the production of goods and services, it recorded the inflation in general. And this expectation inflation, it is caused, or it is type of inflation caused by speculation among the producers that the price may rise in the future. Here, producers